Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Spores, to the Two Fun Guys podcast. We have a very fun episode for you today. We have Jonathan Chen and Nick McCollins, owners of Sisu Cold Plunge. They're in the studio here with us today. Both fathers, both badass dudes, both business owners that have created a really incredible cold plunge, unlike ones that we've seen before. They have a lot of benefits to them that are a little out of the norm of your normal cold plunge. So we're excited to dive into this with you guys. Welcome, fellas.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah.
Excited.
You guys have super interesting backgrounds too. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'll go first. Yeah, so my background's in mechanical engineering. I worked in oil and gas industry for 7 years. So like designing subsea equipment. I was a subsea design engineer. So
Subsea being like under the sea.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So designing oil field equipment, pressure control equipment, dealing with like pressure, temperature sensors and everything. So I did that for a while. And then I transitioned when I moved to Austin into cybersecurity. Very different space, but it was cybersecurity for like OT, operational technology. And a big part of that is like oil and gas and energy and everything. So that's what I'm doing now. And then Sisu on the side. Yeah.
I mean, that's the guy you want making a cold plunge.
100%. Yeah.
That's the guy you want.
If someone's going to build something that I'm going to sit in, I want
We have
Nick to do
an
it.
Amazon store. We sell products, and it's like trainer, sales, no mechanical engineering vibes.
I'm pretty good at
And then-
Legos, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah, you did kill it on that Ferrari Lego.
I did.
And then
Lamborghini.
finance, right?
Yeah, finance. So, but I just want to say, Nick, like technical co-founder, that's exactly who I was looking for because I'm more of the finance or commercial guy.
I mean, talk about a great combo.
Mhm.
It's like money is one of the biggest problems in trying to run a business. Overspending and just not knowing your numbers and shit. Okay, so finance.
So graduated and actually played golf professionally out on the Asian tour for just over a year.
Cool.
And from there, found my way into supply chain at Tesla, working on their connectivity group, infotainment, Apple after that. Out in Chicago business school kind of during COVID. And Nick and I have been sort of cold shower, cold water immersion individuals for the longest time. I mean, I grew up with Nick basically as young lads playing competitive tennis.
Cool.
And
Where'd you guys grow up?
Houston,
Yeah.
Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we grew up playing tennis together from like age 10, basically. And you got like an ACL injury, and then you kind of transitioned to golf, and I stuck with tennis. Played at UT, and then played a couple pro tournaments, and then kind of just called it quits. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. But we have a athletic background, and that's kind of how it started.
That's right.
Big into cold plunging for a while.
When did you guys start? Like, when did you even discover the benefits or wanted to just experiment with it?
For me, probably like 6 years ago. Yeah. 5-6 years ago, I was doing it just in my backyard, just for like, mostly like energy recovery and then energy. Yeah.
Did you buy a ready-made cold plunge, or did you sort of jimmy rig and make one yourself?
I jimmy rigged, like I had a stock tank in my backyard, and I would just freeze ice in my freezer and just throw it in there and get it like cold enough, and then just do it. Yeah.
That's part of the origination is like build a better mousetrap. We were kind of frustrated with what was kind of on the market in terms of price.
Mhm.
It was either $8,000-$9,000 product or kind of your dumpy inflatables.
Yeah.
And supply chain background, some finance, and obviously a technical co-founder were like, we could make a better product and affordable for the market. And here we are.
Yeah. When we first started, Sisu, we were really just trying to get a solid system that we could just have running at our house all the time, like a plunge or something, like the company plunge. But, it was like $7K, $8K for one of those. And for cold water, like $8K for cold water, like no, fuck that. So we were, we started looking around, started thinking about ways we could do it. And we're like, what's the best like insulation, like tub around is like a giant Yeti cooler, basically.
I mean, that's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah, and that's how we started. Yeah,
And it looks sick too. I mean, there's a lot of ones that are trying to be a little better than those shitty inflatable ones, but they just don't really hit. Like the ones that are kind of made of that, paddleboard material, kind of.
Yeah.
But those still don't really. I don't know. They seem.
Yeah, yours seem very insulating, like the polyurethane.
Yeah.
And everything is
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
It is like a giant Yeti.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's the thing that's unique about it too is all these Plunge and the other companies, they have like foam lids essentially, or like canvas material lids, right? And most of these things are outside, and they get they build up bacteria. Like if you looked at a Plunge that's been outside in someone's yard, it's like there's this bacteria all over the lid, right? So what I liked about ours is that it has a weatherproof like sealing lid that's solid. Like it's polyurethane insulated solid lid. So like for most people that are going to be buying a Plunge, they're going to be putting it in their backyard. So like to solve that problem, we wanted something durable, like has good longevity, good properties to, withstand weathering. So that's really what
Power wash it out.
Yeah.
Just clean it easy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome. Can you tell a little more about your first experiences cold plunging? Like, where did you see it? Was it like a coach or was it Wim Hof? And then starting to do it, what were some of the results you started to notice with like health or athletic performance? Because obviously you love it because you kept doing it and then made a company.
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, for probably the first time I was exposed to it was like athletics, like college athletics, like seeing people do cold plunging for recovery. And then it was Wim Hof. And then that's when I learned about more of the mental benefits of it. Yeah.
Very similar in college as recovery after gym sessions. To be fair, I was 140 pounds soaking wet, like a 5'8" Asian kid, right? Lifting and just trying to get stronger. And coaches and the medical staff, talk through the athletes about recovery, how important that is. So started sort of my journey there and really understood how important the mental aspect of it was, right? What like to think as, our motto, but we have a just breathe sign. When you're sitting in the tub, you can see it there. And it's just a good reminder that to be calm and to do just that, right? Breathe. And for me, like whether it's things that I'm dealing with, work, personal life, whatever adversity is, to be calm and to breathe. So I think that's a good reminder that we both embody and thought it would be a good placement of a sticker there to remind to our customers in the Sisu community.
It's like just do it. But cold plunge style.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm really curious about the business side of things because before we started recording, you both said like you'd like mild experience in business, but not like serial entrepreneurs by any means. So when you started Sisu, tell us a little bit about how that happened. Did you get a bunch of funding? Did you bootstrap it? Like what was that journey like starting a whole new business?
Yeah, we're basically just funding it ourselves. Yeah, we're just bootstrapping and trying to get, slowly building on it. Initially, yeah, like I said, we wanted like our own systems for our house. So when we looked at sourcing like all these components, which Jonathan did a great job of, basically we could get a better deal if we bought in bulk, right? So we ended up saying, well, we'll just buy 6 tubs instead of 2 because we're gonna get a better price. It's not gonna be much more money. And we'll just sell them locally. Like the other 4, we'll just sell locally. Even if we just break even on the other 4, whatever, at least, So we did that. And then when we got them in, we were like, well, maybe we should just start a website and, start a brand and see how it goes. And that's kind of how it started.
Yeah. Very much bootstrapped. Nick is also getting his MBA now, but during COVID, I finished up mine and like in practice, knowing what are like the metrics that you want to have, right? LTV over CAC is one, right? The lifetime value of a customer divided by your customer acquisition cost. So early on, staying on top of costs, right? Financially, how do we make this viable? right? What is a target margin that we need to hit? How do we as we were sort of building, delivering the tubs to the actual terminal, our shipper, saved us $150 per unit, right? When you're shipping across the country. So Nick and I were just deadlifting these things into a truck, driving them, 45 minutes out to save a couple $100, but we knew that's what we had to do, right? To hit our targets, hit our margin.
Especially early days.
Exactly.
More time than you have money. You just got to use that resource as much as you can.
And I think we want to try to grow this organically. I think we've stayed heads down, worked pretty hard. Year one is almost wrapped up. We've hit our numbers that we set out for us starting this business, at least for year one. We just went through a round of sort of OKRs for us and see year two, where do we want to get to? That doubling in growth metric, quarter over quarter is, fingers crossed, what we're shooting for. And I think, having these conversations and trying to do what we can to get the product out there and let people know that you don't have to spend $7,000-8,000 for a great cold plunge that'll last a long time, and it's outdoor rated, right?
What was your second and third order like? So you bought like 5.
Yeah. So
got them.
Yeah, we bought a lot of 6 of them, and then from there we had to wait. On the chillers, we were waiting like probably 6 weeks for it to come in. So when we were waiting, we're like, "What? Let's just play around with this." So then I came up with a logo, came up with a brand, like a brand concept, and then we're like, "Oh, let's just make a website. We'll just pay someone to make a website, and we'll just go at it."
The first prototype that we made, because we were tinkering with this original Grizzly tub, Yeti-like cooler. There's mist drills. There's quite a few issues here and there, and our wives actually took some videos of us like late into the night, like figuring out how to make this completely waterproof, making sure it's gonna last. So that first tub that we made is actually still in use at his house.
That's cool.
And I think we're going to keep that for as long as we can, obviously, because
that's a memento.
So did you actually make it yourself, or there was a manufacturer you went back and forth with the design and then make tweaks with the sample, or?
Yeah, so we have a chiller manufacturer, and then the tub is manufactured by Grizzly here in the U.S., and we ship everything to Austin here, and we assemble here. So there's some building and assembly that happens.
So someone makes an order, the pieces come to you here in Austin, you assemble it and ship it out.
So the main part of it when we started was figuring out that assembly part of it. So there's some drilling, there's some connections that need to be made, and we just made that in the correct way that will last for a long time, not have any leaks. The flow, I think it was important for us to have the fluid flow, like the water flow coming in, to break any like thermal barrier that you build up when you're sitting in the tub. So that's a thing that can occur if you're just, if you have a DIY tub, you just throw in ice and you sit there, like you will build a thermal layer around your body and you won't get the benefits that you can get from if you have like water moving.
Circulation, yeah.
So we wanted to have, like our outlet for where the water comes in is like near the top of the tub, and that comes in and like breaks any thermal barrier. Yeah.
Interesting. So you guys are assembling them now for anybody ordering.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. So if you order from these guys, you're like, they literally checked it.
You're getting the owner's touch.
Yeah, they literally assembled the car and now they're sending it to you.
Yeah. You're getting like two FATs, like factory acceptance tests. You're getting one for the chiller at the point of manufacture, and then you're getting one with us, like when we're assembling it. So.
And the chiller is so important because they can be so shitty. They can not work. How did you guys decide on the chiller you have now? And I think it's a big deal that you're making them in the US too.
Yeah. So the chiller sourcing, just from my previous background, I actually have a few close friends, former colleagues that are based out in Shenzhen. I had them go and do a visit. I mean, these are colleagues of mine that I totally trust, right? From engineering validation standpoint, and a sourcing standpoint, the components that they're using, make sure it's robust and it's gonna last. So to your point, the power is important. So a 1 horsepower chiller, as we think about the heat that we experience here in Texas, some of our customers out in Arizona, to make sure that, well, it'll keep the water at 40 degrees Fahrenheit or whatever you set it to. It's not going to overconsume energy draw, because if the chiller is always running to try and keep that water there, you're going to spend more money on energy, right? So if you have a stronger chiller, you have an insulated tub, all of that equals a more efficient, yes, setup. Yeah. We're coming out with a new tub, actually.
Yeah.
So we, as part of some planning here for next year, working with our suppliers, the Grizzly is sort of like our XL setup, if you will. We're going to make a more compact setup, rotomolded, polyurethane. The chiller is now going to be integrated.
Into it.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yep. So we're excited about this design. So when you're manufacturing the mold of the cooler, there will be a cutout, a slot for the chiller components. And as our partner overseas is doing the final assembly, they'll integrate the chiller into the tub.
Cool.
Yeah.
And it'll be the first one that's like polyurethane material, because like there are some companies doing all in, like they call it all in one cold plunges, right? So it's this one unit, but not with like that kind of insulation material. Like they're doing like
acrylic or something.
Yeah, acrylic, like a typical acrylic porcelain tub or something.
But it's not portable though, right? Yours will be.
Yeah, ours will be portable. We'll
But
still have
those
handles and stuff.
Other ones aren't portable.
Yeah, they're not.
They're all like, they have to be stationed somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's wild.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah. You know,
I think that's the reason a lot of people don't get cold plunges is like their excuse is, oh, I'm renting or I live in a apartment. Like I could put it on my balcony, but then it has to get assembled. Like there's all these reasons why they would avoid getting a cold plunge, but you guys are like one by one just knocking them down. Yeah. Well, okay, it's portable. Okay, it's one particular unit. It's like you just solve all these problems very easily.
Yeah. We're just trying to be creative. Yeah.
What does Sisu mean?
So Sisu originates, it's a Finnish word, so originates in Finland. It basically means like do hard shit, like do difficult things.
Facing adversity.
Yeah, and the reason that we went with that around the branding is that cold plunging originated in Finland. Yeah. So
it's also a badass movie.
Yeah.
Have you watched it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's pretty sick.
Yeah.
So the compact, can a big athlete fit in it, even though it's compact? Like what's the size?
Yeah. So like
what's the top end of a person?
Yeah. So like the one that we've been selling, right? We're going to call that the XL now. That's the Grizzly 450.
Got it.
That can fit like a 6'5", 250-pound dude, like easily.
Okay.
My brother from Australia, he plays like Australian rules football, and he came over and visited me recently, and he's like 6'4", like 240, and like no problem. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so the compact,
it will it's going to be tighter for sure. So there's trade-offs, right? If we're trying to make something easier to maneuver, smaller, you'd really have to submerge yourself, get all the way in there and kind of ball up, but you can be fully submerged. Now you're not going to be able to kind of lay out, arms out, stretched like the XL. So I think,
but there's pros and cons to it. Yeah. Like if you want to get the compact, it's going to have a lesser volume of water, right? So it's going to take less energy and to maintain that volume of water at a colder temperature.
It's also like if you were a coach or, an athlete that wants to travel with their plunge, it's like, I'm going to trade off the space to be able to travel,
right?
Which makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
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 I would say that traveling is also another thing. The Grizzly tub that we're using, you can still, the origination of that was actually for hunting. So big game that you hunt, it's massive. You can still, unhook our hoses connectors, throw some sealed waterproof caps on it, you take that, haul that around, throw it in the back of the truck, fishing, hunting, whatever you want.
Oh, that's sick.
Obviously clean it out before you connect your chiller back into it.
Yeah, Yeah,
Go ahead.
there are a lot of dual uses. Like we had like my kid's birthday party recently at my house, and we were like, oh, we need a cooler to put all the drinks in. I'm like, we don't need to buy ice or do anything. Like just throw it in the cold plunge and just leave it there. Like, it's at 39, 40 degrees.
It's convenient double use.
All the drinks are just floating at the top. You're good.
It's smart.
Yeah.
And then if you get hot, you just get in with all the drinks.
Yeah.
Take a little plunge.
Yeah.
And then you're like the little cooler gnome. You just hand out the beers to everybody.
We might have mentioned earlier, but we also have young kids, and even as like a little kiddie pool outside, obviously you're going to turn it up, not 40 degrees Fahrenheit for obvious reasons, but turn it up to like
Sisu these little kids. Make them do some hard.
Make them hard.
Little David Goggins babies.
Turn it up to 75 degrees, and it works as a little kiddie pool, a little play area for the kids, so.
That's one thing in Texas. Like if you notice you go swimming in the summer, like at your public pool, it's so hot. It's not even enjoyable. Like it's like 100 degrees outside.
It's annoying.
The water's like 90 and it's like full of sunscreen and you're like, fuck this, dude. This is not enjoyable. So
that's true.
Like I've been toying with an idea of they have these big like 12-person plunges. You've probably seen them. They are the inflatable stand-up paddle material.
Okay.
And just throwing that in the backyard with a chiller hooked up to it at like 55.
How about
And
like
then
a
just-
cold plunge party?
Yeah, just like a nice temperature to like chill out in the Texas heat.
That's pretty rad. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
What have you guys been doing for marketing to get the name out, to get the brand out, start building awareness, make some sales?
Yeah, that's probably one of our weaknesses. So we've been outsourcing a lot of that. But there's basically we started with influencer marketing. So are you guys into jiu-jitsu?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't know if you know Nicky Ryan. He's Gordon Ryan's brother. Yeah, he's my neighbor. So he lives down the street. And before I knew that about him, I was like kind of buddies with him and just partied with him a little bit. And then I found out who he was, and I was like, this is like the perfect influencer for us, like jiu-jitsu. So we kind of just took a shot at that.
Jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu.
You hire me for all your branding needs.
Yeah, so we partnered up with him, and that's how we got a lot of our initial sales, actually, is into the jiu-jitsu community.
Sweet.
Yeah. So that's one avenue. The other avenue is SEO. So I kind of got lucky with a friend of a friend that was like, she's like a guru in SEO, basically. Like she fucking has like, she basically like owns the luxury fireplace market, like online. And it's like, she doesn't give a shit about fireplaces, but like she's like just she's like an SEO guru, basically. And she was like, oh, this luxury fireplace space is just like wide open on the internet to take over. Mm-hmm. So she did, and she's like super successful.
So like Google ads or
so
SEO.
SEO. So it's like organic search traffic. So it's different than paid Google ads.
Okay.
So this is like how you get ranked on Google and how you get like organic website traffic. So we got her on board with us because she also saw a gap in the cold plunge market online for SEO. So she was like very helpful in that. And that's kind of helped us a lot with website traffic.
Sweet. So you do the influencer, you do SEO. Are you doing any paid marketing?
A little bit, but
we actually also announced a partnership with Fury FC, which is what we like to think is a feeder into the UFC, really. Mm-hmm. A lot of very, very talented, hardworking athletes working their way up into the UFC. So you guys should, for your viewers out there that are fans, check out Fury FC. They have a Fight Pass access. They're doing a lot of their fights mostly in Houston. So we did a partnership with them. They have a couple of their key gyms down in Houston, runs our Sisu plunges. So doing a little bit of marketing and advertising that way too.
Yeah. I don't know how that came about. Did we ever figure how that came about? We think it's random, but like we kind of sponsored Nicky, and he's kind of in the fight community. Mm-hmm. And then like Fury just called us up one day and they're like, we're looking for cold plunges.
and I, Nick, that's a good point. It's for us right now, like customer service is so important.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, you're
Like,
trying not to scale too much too fast. And
exactly. And those that believe in us, believe in the products, you're going to be talking to us, right? We're going to be answering the customer support chat. We're going to be answering their phones. Quite a few of the customers actually have my personal cell phone. And a lot of times it's whether it's late at night or there's a small tweak issue or assembly that was done incorrectly after they did a drain. We're gonna figure that out. And I think part of it's a little bit of luck, right? So with Nikki being in that community, Fury FC was looking for cold plunges, and we were one of the first few that they answered, but we're definitely the first to respond, pick up the phone, and those guys are great. Super
nice guys.
Yeah.
And it's been a lot of exposure for us because the UFC owns Fury FC, and the VP of the UFC, Mick Maynard, he got one of our plunges when we did this partnership deal with them. So a lot of like huge UFC fighters, they saw Mick Maynard post about Sisu, about having one at his place, and they're all like, fuck, I want one. So like, crazy story, like a week after that, or not even a week, like 3 days after that, I get a call on my cell, and it's like our Google Voice business number, and I'm like, okay, so it's Sisu. So I pick it up, and I'm like, hey, this is Nick with Sisu. And then I hear this guy go, hey, this is Raphael. And I'm like, yeah, this is Nick with Sisu. And he's like, oh, this is Rafael Dos Anjos. And I was like, shut the fuck up, bro. No way.
Damn.
Yeah, so
got to get a cold plunge.
yeah, so Dos Anjos is like a legendary UFC fighter, middleweight.
Yeah.
He's been fighting forever. He's a legend. But he moved to Austin like a couple years ago. And yeah, so we did a deal with him. And
shout out to Desanias. We were watching the fight, and it was a tough injury. Looked like it was to the knee. But wishing you a swift recovery, man, and getting that Sisu. And
I was going to say, there's one way to recover that we know will work.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah. So that was pretty big, and it just kind of all happened,
Yeah, that's so interesting. I think there's two things that are kind of key. Is one, something that's overlooked in business a lot is that strong customer service, like being able to really be there for your customers, especially when you're a newer company. People get so hell-bent on like scale and building and revenue, and like that's obviously very important. Like the key point of a business is to make money, but until you have a really good customer service base, it's not going to happen, or you're just going to burn out quickly and customers aren't going to like it. So I love that that's a key point for you, because a lot of business owners just forget that you have to do that.
Every touch point matters. Every touch point matters. From the first one where you're engaging in a prospective conversation with the customer, right? Mm-hmm. Being empathetic there. And then if we're lucky enough that they make an order, right? It's that follow-up email. It's a card that we have in there saying thank you, right? Here's who we are, and we hope that this journey for you is going to be as rewarding as it was for us, in specifically the cold plunging space, right? Any support issues, again, it's Nick and I answering the phone and working with the customer. Yeah, so it's customer service incredibly important.
Definitely. Yeah. Do you have a plan, or have you thought about how you're going to maintain that as you do start to scale?
Yeah,
that's a great question. Nick and I are not full time right now on this. We hope to be at some point, and I think it's going to be incredibly important for us to be thoughtful about who we hire as that next hire, whether it's leading support or marketing for us, because Nick and I are both pretty OCD, and we definitely want things done a certain way. Not that we're not open to feedback, of course, but make sure it's done right, and every item done is 100% right to T. So I think as we think about scale, it's going to be training and being very thoughtful about who that support lead is going to be for us.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I was just letting you rip.
That's
This guy works with incredible people in sales and stuff, so he's good at diving into all that stuff.
Yeah, I like to nerd out on the business side of stuff.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
So what have some of your customers said about their experience with your product, like helping them like the benefits they've received? Have you got any cool testimonials?
Trying to think.
It's a lot of them majority of them is helping them get started, whether they're new to cold plunging or have been doing it for a while, but getting into it at an affordable price point. You know, a outdoor roto-molded tub is what appeals to them, and then also that 1 horsepower chiller. Because I think the cold plunging market and industry, I think at this point, still a lot of room to grow, but it is very well known, and people have been doing cold showers for a while, using ice baths, right? So I think the benefits of it, I think are things that we love to hear, whether it's for mental health, whether it's getting over an injury, whether it's bouncing back after a awesome workout. That's sort of standard, but I think feedback that we've been getting from customers is like at an affordable price point. Great product at an affordable price point.
Yeah. I got a message the other day on Google Voice about customer in like San Antonio that was going through like recovery from or recovery or like dealing with like cerebral palsy, I think. And they were saying that their doctor highly recommended like contrast therapy for doing that.
Really?
So they already had the sauna hot tub set up, and they were coming to us for the cold plunge. And we're like, definitely like, let's get you sorted for sure.
It's interesting. Cerebral palsy.
Yeah.
I guess contrast therapy can be good for anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a panacea.
Well, I mean, they always have those statistics, right? Where it's like, you're gonna, you can extend your life expectancy by a certain amount if you like do 40 minutes in the sauna, you know, versus like not, you know, so it definitely can help with a lot of things.
What are the different protocols you guys recommend in using the cold plunge? Like before workout versus after workout versus just daily? Like what are some of the applications that people can use when they have a cold plunge, even if it's like getting ready for a meeting?
Yeah. I think when you're starting out, like you're new to it, you kind of want to start closer to that 50 degrees and 2.5 minutes and just kind of work your way down from there and see, and, you know, get colder and go that route.
Yeah. There's so much shit on the internet, just like 34, 30.
Yeah. You don't
get down there and then people get pushed away from it.
Yeah.
Because they're like, it's got to be this experience.
Yeah. You don't need that. You don't need that, especially to start. The studies that I found are that at in the 40 to 45 degree range for 2.5 minutes, that's where you get the majority of the benefits from. Anything outside of that is mental challenge, essentially. So I recommend people to stick to that range. As far as like other protocols, like weightlifting, for example, you don't want to plunge after you just did a weight session, because you're lifting weights to do hypertrophy. So you don't want to cold plunge and then ruin all that hypertrophy by reducing the inflammation, right? So that's one protocol you want to avoid. So cold plunge before a weight session, get all that energy going, and then just knock out the weights. Cardio is separate. So like cardio, do cardio and then jump in the plunge. You're not going to affect anything. It's going to reduce inflammation and lactic acid buildup. So for the cardio purposes, it's all good.
Have you guys played around with doing it before you work out?
I have, yeah.
It's nice. I'll do like just a minute real quick. Just get like a little kick.
Yeah.
Sauna 10 minutes, and then it's like all my joints are amazing.
Yeah.
It's like I just right away I feel amazing in my joints.
The dopamine hits. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also in the mornings I would just dip my face in there if I don't have time. You know, for a full plunge or something, or it obviously it's sort of involved in that. You know, you got to change, towel off, etc. But just dip your face in there. There are a lot of benefits there too, and it wakes me right up.
Also, if you're freaking out on psychedelics, get in the cold plunge.
It's a good point.
And you'll stop freaking out.
Really?
Like, 'cause a lot of times if you're on psychedelics and you're having a bad time, it's because you got pushed into some loop, or you in a thought descent that is taking you into a place. And so cold is just like right there.
Yeah.
And then you have at least a moment to kind of bring yourself back. It's kind of like in ayahuasca, they do rapé, where it's like tobacco you go in. It's kind of the same concept. It's just like, boom, brings you back to the present moment.
Yeah, it's like a
That's
mental
really
reset.
interesting. Yeah,
Have you guys done psychedelics?
I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
But haven't like gotten into a cold plunge like during.
10 out of 10 recommend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess are we allowed to legally recommend that?
We can.
Yeah.
We're degenerates.
We're the fun guys.
The fun
This
guy.
is not medical advice.
Sisu did not endorse
Yeah. This is not the
on
official
drugs and getting the cold plunge.
Yeah, exactly. This is not an official stance of Sisu.
That's funny.
They do not represent the express written views of the Two Fun Guys podcast.
Are you mostly focused on athletes, or do you want other
No.
individuals?
No, I think it can be for everyone. It's not just athletes. It's for everyone. Like for me, like I was gonna say, another protocol that I use it for, not athletic related at all. It's just energy, like later in the day. So like when my kids are coming home and we got to do like the whole, playtime, dinner, sleep routine. That's like 4 hours of just like work, and that's a lot after a day of work. So like you're exhausted. So I get in at like 4 o'clock and just like reset and just get a bunch of energy and then just knock out that part of, family time.
Mhm.
That's a big reason that I use it for. And I think a lot of people should as well, because it kind of just gives you it gives you energy for like 3-4 hours after. Like your mood is better. Like dealing with difficult shit is just easier,
I personally drink a lot less caffeine now. And if I'm feeling a little slow, as Nick said, jump in the cold plunge. Easy. Or dip or a face plunge.
Yeah, they say that like with cold plunging, like the dopamine release is like 3x cocaine, and it's like lasts for way longer. Obviously, like cocaine's like 15 minutes, cold plunge is like 4 hours. So
That's huge. I think I've always thought this. You guys ever do like hot yoga, like hot yoga, like Bikram? You ever done that?
I've done it, a couple times.
Where it's fucking brutally hot,
Yeah.
right? There's a place downtown called Pure, and there's a couple other like really hot studios, and they have an outdoor courtyard with a shower.
Yeah,
Those would be like, I bet if you were like, we'll just let you guys borrow this for a week, and then
yeah,
just let the people like doing that class and then being able to like an hour of super hot yoga, you stretch and then go in the cold plunge after, they would be so high.
yeah.
And I feel like that's a great place because it's so easy. Now you don't have to install it into their place. They can just kind of put it in, or they can have like, just keep them in like a storage unit or whatever and just bring them out on Saturdays.
Yeah,
I think that community would absolutely love it because you have the crossover of Wim Hof, but then Alto athletes.
yeah,
And it's like, that's
Yeah.
kind of a good combo.
yeah.
That's where I would be hitting up. Also for my pure own personal benefit. I would love to cold plunge right after a super hot yoga
Yeah, well
class.
said.
Yeah.
Because you feel so good. And then if you just like sealed it with that cold plunge, you would feel incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. So I think like not just regular, any kind of hot yoga, it's got to be those like really hot studios.
Intense, like hot Bikram. Yeah.
Or even some of those ones that are like, there's one I think it's called Yoga 6, places like that. I think that community is super into it. Like younger people, they're kind of working out, so they're hard yoga classes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Super
then
6.
I think it's called Yoga 6.
Yoga 6.
Yeah, something like that. I think it came out of New York. I used to train the owner, and it's all infrared, cool. Also, the big problem with yoga is they try to develop community, but they don't really do anything where people interact with each other that much. You go to class, you're sweating, you're moving with each other, and then you grab your shit and you leave.
That's a good
You don't really actually do anything community based unless you go to outside events where it's like the cold plunge. It could be a selling point of like, this can build community because you're doing hard shit together, but you're like sharing. And then that big plunge would make a lot of sense because it's like everyone's in the big plunge.
Yeah. No, dude. You want to do our marketing?
I just talk a lot.
King of ideas right here.
That's a good idea.
Big
yeah.
ideas, guy.
Take them, make money.
I like that
Just
because
throw me a cold plunge and I'll be happy.
I like that because you bring a good point with yoga, like the yoga culture, like because you get a lot of people that are really experienced, like advanced yogis, could do like handstands and stuff, and then you get people like me, I can't stretch for shit, and and so like I go to a yoga class, I'm like quiet, I don't want to talk to anyone. There's probably a lot of people like that in the yoga community.
Yeah.
So like having the cold plunge after, definitely.
It's just a cool bonding experience.
Yeah.
Like the one, again, Pure, shout out to Pure, I guess. yoga. They have that courtyard that's perfectly set up because they have an outdoor shower and a huge courtyard space that everyone goes and sits in and kind of like is dying and just staring at each other. But if
Yeah,
you're
especially when it's hot in the summer, they move from the hot yoga to that hot courtyard.
and then you get in your car and you're waiting for your AC to kick on. I don't know. I think that'd be a cool community. Also, it's like Wim Hof. He, at the essence, he is a yogi. Like he just took a lot of the yogic teachings and he just simplified the pranayama, the breathing techniques, and all of that. And yoga is all about controlling your nervous system and balancing your nervous system. And that's one of the key components of having cold plunges. You can re-regulate your nervous system.
A lot of it's through breath.
Yeah. Well, how did you guys look at the cold plunge market before you also decided? Were you just like, I want to make it, let's see if we can sell it just because we love it and just see if it grows? Or were you looked at what's going on in the market, where you think it could go? I'm curious.
We looked. I don't think we looked that far in the future, like where the cold plunge space is moving, but like took a current snapshot of like, as a consumer, what can I get and for how much money? And I just felt like it was too much. Like $7K for cold water is too much.
Yeah, early days, we were just passionate cold plungers ourselves. So early days was let's build a better product and then see, what niche can we play into for Sisu Plunge, right? Locally based here in Austin, what we believe is a better chiller, et cetera. And that jujitsu space kind of opened up for us. And as we think about this upcoming year, we definitely need to have conversations with local yoga studios, et cetera, and see how do we grow and expand. I saw that Kohler recently just created their own cold plunge. And to me, that says a few different things. One, the market is growing significantly for a company like Kohler to build a very aesthetically pleasing, what I assume is going to be a very good product for luxury homes. So, obviously, don't want to talk about competitors here too much, but my point is that the market is growing.
It'll probably be way more expensive than yours.
Anyway.
It's just get a Sisu, everybody.
It's a different market segment, and that's why I get this feeling that there is still a big market segment in cold plunging. Like obviously, there are a lot of players in the space, but I still think there's a big market segment of that lower end price range where people can still be like comfortable spending like $2 to $3K
totally
and getting a quality product and not just like an inflatable. And that's really what we're trying to hit on.
I remember watching different cold plunge posts and you see people like, oh, I can't wait till this fad's over. It's like, it absolutely is never going away. It's like when yoga first came out or like even running, it's like jogging wasn't even a thing. It's not going away.
Yeah.
Cold plunge has been around a long time. It's been used by coaches forever. It just kind of started to get to mainstream. And I think there's a lot of people trying a bunch of different ones, especially on the cheap end, and they're just not really hitting. There's a lot of experimenting. But I think eventually, Lifetime Fitness, not the one here, but different locations, they're starting to put cold plunges in.
Yeah.
You have banyas that have been around forever, Russian spas. They have cold plunges in a super important health thing that you can athletes, wellness, it can hit all kinds of stuff. I think you're going to see it more and more and more mainstream.
Right.
And if you live in Austin, it's like, you should get a cold plunge just for living here. It's like a staple of living here. It's like, eventually, why, if you live in a hot climate, you should have a cold plunge.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah. That's a good point. Cause I was, I'm half Singaporean, half my family's from Singapore. I was over there, this year and I was talking with my uncle and, when you turn the tap on in a hot country, for cold water, it's not cold.
You don't get cold water.
They've never experienced what Colorado, mountain water feels like coming out of your tap. So that alone is is a commodity,
100%. Yeah. Moving
it's
from
insane.
the Northwest, where because we loved cold showers, take cold showers
and
all
they
the
would
time.
get
And you get
fucking
freezing,
cold.
especially in the winter. like 31 degrees, just like that close to being ice would come out of the fucking tap. And then moving to Texas, especially in the heat, you want to take a cold shower, but there's no such thing as cold water.
Yeah, it's like tepid. It's like mid.
You get lukewarm at best if you want cold water.
Yeah. So I was talking to my uncle about this, and it's like even a super developed country like Singapore and very commercialized country, they barely have any cold plunge. They have like 2 studios like in the country, you know. And I was like, man, it'd be awesome to commercialize, like come out with some product here where, you know, people could start using that.
Well, that'd be awesome. Blow it up in Singapore.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's health and wellness grows globally, right? Throughout Southeast Asia, specifically. I'm Taiwanese, so I resonate with what Nick is sort of saying there. As fitness, as health trends continue growing, like I would only imagine that the cold plunging market would continue to grow with it. I can't remember what year this was, the Dallas Mavericks, when they won the championship with I think the oldest team ever. I think it was Mark Cuban, and maybe the head coach, talked so much about recovery through cold water therapy. And I think at the time, cryotherapy, where you're getting these chambers and it's like negative 40 or 50 degrees, that, and obviously the cold water immersion, to make sure that their athletes are ready for that next game. You know, as you get into your mid to late 30s. I mean, we're in our early 30s now, and I can already feel my body slowing down a little bit.
The moment your age begins with a 3, it's just everything is fucking down.
It's brutal. Yeah. My back, like lifting my daughter Kaya, you know, she's like, 18 pounds right now? But even then, like in and out of the crib, I'm like, do a little stretch session before I go grab her.
Yeah. I mean, I can personally attest so much healing, like mentally, yes, but also just the body, like physical healing to cold plunge. Like we used to do weighted vest running and like hill sprints and stuff. And both of our calves, you remember this? And we did that for like a month or 2 months. Our calves were fucked, just beyond belief. And like there's a couple cold plunge sessions after that. Back to normal immediately. Just reduced all inflammation. I pinch shit in my back all the time. Fixes it up. So I mean, cold plunging is one of those magical things that I'm so glad is back into the world now and becoming mainstream, because it's one of the best things to ever happen to society for it to be more popular.
Yeah. For the longest time, it's just been access, right? Like if it wasn't for the varsity gym that had the cold plunge, or professional athletes that have trainers and very sophisticated cold plunges, I wouldn't have been cold plunging. And now with technology, costs coming down, right? Innovative ideas on how to bring it to the mass market, I think is not going away, to Brent's point earlier. Yeah.
Did you guys patent your models? No, not patent.
No.
Shouldn't have said that.
Edit that out.
Cut that in post.
Going back to your new model though, is the engine smaller? Did you design a smaller engine?
Yeah, the compact model will have
how big is it?
0.8 horsepower.
Yeah, it's a 0.8 horsepower chiller.
This is 0.2 smaller.
Yeah,
0.2 smaller, and
it'll have a smaller footprint.
Yeah.
So like, how big is it?
Well, we haven't actually seen it yet.
It looks like a toaster.
We haven't seen it yet. It's probably in between. It's probably a small microwave oven. Like,
okay,
yeah,
small microwave.
Very small microwave oven.
Okay, that's a lot smaller.
And
usually pretty big.
Yeah, and a lot of the components will be housed in the tub side. Yeah, so there'll be like a cavity. There'll be like a cavity in the tub where most of the components are housed, and then there'll be a small unit that just does the chilling. That'll be like attached to that.
Have you tested how heavy it'll be to like try to actually move it?
Haven't yet.
Working with our suppliers, going through a couple of design iterations. The mold and the final product should be done probably in a couple weeks, and I think we'll get the final specs. Together combined, I'm thinking 130 pounds ish.
Okay.
Yeah. Nick is, what are you, 6'1", 6'2"? And when we were working through the dimensions,
to move it, basically.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because we're gonna have handles. It's kind of too awkward of a size to one individual, but there'll be handles, so easy to move with 2 people.
Could you put rollers on it?
And
then lock it down.
Our chillers have rollers.
Oh,
and
cool.
you can lock them down. Yeah. So you can roll those around. And those are really like the heavy, difficult thing to move around.
Yeah.
So there's that. Yeah.
I was saying earlier, you're 6162, the design that we're going through, if you sit in it, because it's going to be slanted back, you're leaning back and your knees are up, you can get fully submerged in it.
Yeah. You'll still be able to get fully submerged.
Yeah.
It's an attempt to just appeal to more, more of the market. So we're going to have the XL, we'll have a compact, and then we're going to have a contrast. And the contrast is going to have basically 2 tubs that are
side by side.
They're side by side.
Oh, really?
It's going to be a single unit, and hot and cold on each
Hell
side. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
When is the estimated arrival date?
that
for
one's going to slap. That one's for sure going to slap.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, they don't cold plunge because there is no heat element, right? It's like,
AKA they're pussies.
yeah. But specifically, like women, I hear a lot from my female clients, when it's just the cold plunge themselves, they're like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Right. And if you had that heating element, because now you get to reward yourself.
Yeah.
And it's easier to just be like, just do 10 seconds and go back to hot. Right.
Yeah.
And now it's like, that's a perfect thing you could do before bed.
Yeah.
You could even just do the hot before bed.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be huge,
Yeah.
easy to sell.
It's coming.
When is? Yeah. Do you know when?
We get the sample in like 6
in a
weeks.
month.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then we're going to do all the commercialize it and photo shoots and everything, get it up on the site. Yeah.
So what will be the price points of the 2 new models?
We are working through that right now.
The compact will be cheaper than the XL, and the contrast will be more expensive than the
all of
XL.
them.
Yeah, than all of them. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, where can people find you? How can people find Sisu's? Anything you want people to know?
Yeah.
SisuPlunges.com. Find us there. Follow us on Instagram. We are working through what big box retailing strategy kind of looks like for us this upcoming year. So, a lot of things in the works that we've sort of shared here. We want to be able to get this, at a Fringe Sports or some local Austin specific sports goods store, right? So people can look, see, touch, feel, and then more gyms too, so people can go and experience them. Brent's point about pure yoga, I think
I got a bunch of other
double-click
places
into that.
but I'll tell you off camera.
If you're in Austin and you want to see one in person before you buy, or if you're interested, you can go check one out at Tiger ATX Gym or Squatch.
Shout out George.
Yeah, shout out George.
That's where I tell people. That's
Yeah.
how I discovered you guys, because George installed one. I was like, damn, this thing's sick.
Yeah,
It's like actually a cool looking,
Yeah.
not super expensive cold plunge.
yeah,
That I'm like, because before, we'd love to have a cold plunge for the house, but like you're saying, they're super expensive. And then the cheaper ones, you're like, I don't know. A lot of these engines are from China. They're like you don't know if they're good quality. They're just random brands that are just, just making orders. And the quality, it's like, I don't know how long it's going to last. They're a little small. I don't know. They're just off. And this one, you're like, all right, that actually looks legit and it looks cool.
yeah.
So you guys did a good job on the model.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah. So you want to check them out. You can see them in person, Tiger ATX. You can go to Squatch Fitness. Squatch Gym has 2 of them. Go see them in person. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool, guys. I'm excited to watch you guys grow, and we'll have you back and see where you guys are at.
Yeah.
We have a discount code for your followers.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. 2 fun guys for $300 off.
Hey,
Yeah.
look at that.
That's
You
what's
lucky
up.
spores. Look at you guys.
Little Sporians.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for
Thank you.
coming out,
Thanks for
fellas.
having us.
Appreciate it,
Yeah.
guys.
Appreciate it, man.
It was a pleasure.